Feeding of the 5,000. When they had returned, they had reported to Jesus about what they had done. Then he took them with him, and they withdrew by themselves to the town of Bethsaida. But the crowds learnt about this and followed him. He welcomed them and then spoke to them about the kingdom of God and healed those who needed healing. Late that afternoon, the 12 came to him and said, "Send the crowds away to the surrounding villages and countryside and find food and lodging, because we are in a remote place here." He replied, "You give them something to eat." They answered, "We only have 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, unless we go and buy food from all his crowd." But he had said to his disciples, "Make them sit down in groups of about 5 each." The disciples did so, and everyone sat down. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke them. Then he gave them to the disciples to distribute to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up the 12 baskets full of broken pieces that were left over.
Thank you for reading our passage today, Alastair. There's so much that we could look at in this passage, so much that we could spend time on, but I just want to talk to you for a couple of minutes about something that really stands out to me as I read this passage, and something that I quite often come back to in this passage. I feel like I understand the disciples quite well, to be honest with you. They look out at what's in front of them and they see lots and lots of need, and they feel completely overwhelmed by that need, thinking, do you know what, there's just so much need that I can't fix it. I don't even know where to begin to fix this need. They see 5,000 men plus women and children, so thousands and thousands and thousands of people in front of them who are hungry. They have this great need to be fed. And the disciples just think, how do we even begin to start to feed this many people? We can't make enough of a difference. And I wonder if there's things in our lives that when we look out, we see a great need, but we just feel completely overwhelmed by that need. Maybe you look out at our world and you're just really aware of climate change and issues around us having a sustainable planet, taking care of the planet. And you just think, do you know what? It's just too big an issue. This is a worldwide issue. I can't fix this. Maybe you hear stories in the news of starving children in war-torn areas like in Yemen, and you just think, this is too big for me to even begin to help with. Perhaps it's that you look around at your friends at school and you see the increasing mental health crisis that we have in our country, particularly amongst young people. And you just think, this is too much for me to do anything about. There's a whole host of situations around justice that we can look at and just think, this is too much. The need here is too great for me to do anything. But Jesus' response to the disciples is not, hey guys, you're not good enough. You don't have enough. You can't make a big enough difference. Jesus' response to the disciples in this story is, take a look at your hands and tell me what you've got in your hands. Can you imagine the disciples doing this? Thousands and thousands of people in front of them. And Jesus says to them, tell me what you've got in your hands. And the disciples look down and they say, we've got 5 loaves, 5 little loaves and 2 fish. That's it. But what I think is amazing here in this story, this miracle of this story here, is that Jesus says, right, give me what you've got in your hands. And so they give him everything they've got in their hands. Now, bearing in mind, if everybody else was hungry, the disciples were probably hungry as well. But they don't keep anything back from Jesus. They give it all to Jesus. And so with 5 loaves and 2 fish in his hands that the disciples have given, Jesus multiplies it and he feeds these thousands and thousands of people. I don't know what it is that you've got in your hands right now. Or if you've ever said to Jesus, do you know what, there's this huge problem in front of me and I don't know what to do about it. Maybe you need to take a moment today. Maybe that's what you need to do with your days. Take a moment and just think, what do I have in my hands? If there's this huge problem out there and I'm bringing it to Jesus, Jesus is probably saying to me, just like he did to the disciples, what have you got in your hands? And maybe you're looking at your hands right now going, well, my hands are physically empty. But do you have time? Do you have energy? Do you have a voice? Do you have contacts? Do you have a social media account that could be utilised? Do you have some knowledge or understanding? Have you read some stuff that gives you a greater knowledge and understanding than other people? Jesus is saying to you today, give me what you've got in your hands and I can multiply it. Jesus wants us to be involved in the big miracles in this world. He's calling us to get involved. Maybe we think what we've got in our hands is too little time, too little energy, too little of a platform to make a difference, not enough money to make a difference. Jesus says, give me the little that you have and I will multiply it.